Welcome to EduCon. This is Imam with you, and now we'll start chapter 3, Plant Kingdom. In previous chapters, we have studied about the classification of living organisms under the system proposed by Whittaker, wherein he suggested 5 kingdom classification. They are Monera, Protista, fungi, and animalia. So in this chapter, we'll deal in detail with further classification within the kingdom Plantae, popularly known as plant kingdom. We must stress here that our understanding of the plant kingdom has changed over time, because scientists, they found something which is not essential to be a plant, then that organism will be taken out of the that kingdom and placed in another kingdom. So it has happened over time. Fungi and members of Monera and Protista having cell walls have now been excluded from Plantae. So earlier classifications placed them in the same kingdom. Earlier we have all this in the plant kingdom. Now they have separated into another kingdom. So the cyanobacteria that are also referred to as blue-green algae are not algae anymore. Or not algae anymore. In this chapter, we will describe algae, biophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, which comes under plant kingdom. Let us also look at the classification within angiosperms to understand some of the concerns that influence the classification systems. The earliest systems of classification use only gross superficial morphological characters such as habit, color, number, and shape of the leaves. In earlier, because at the time they instinctively they used to classify the the organisms into different sections. They were basically mainly on those superficial morphology characters, which are based mainly on vegetative characters or androecium structure, that is the flower, which was given by Linnaeus. Such systems were artificial. They separated the closely related species since they were based on few characteristics. Okay, such systems were artificial, means earlier superficial morphological characters, okay, where on such, for example, which are based mainly on vegetative characters, they are artificial in nature. They separated the closely related species since they were based on few characteristics. Also, the artificial systems give equal weightage to vegetative and sexual characteristics. So in artificial system, what is happening? It was in artificial system gives equal weightage to the vegetative and sexual characteristics. This is not acceptable, since we know that often the vegetative characters are more easily affected by the environment. How the environment affects the vegetative system. As against this, natural classification system developed. Natural classification systems developed, which were based on natural affinities among the organisms and consider not only the external features but also internal features like ultrastructures, anatomy, embryology, and phytochemistry. So before, morphological characters like color, all this. So here we go in deep, like apart from the external features, we are also taking consideration like internal features, ultrastructure, even cellular level, anatomy, embryology, phytochemistry. This is called natural system of classification. Such a classification for flowering plant was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. At present, phylogenetic classification systems based on evolutionary relationships between the various organisms are acceptable. This assumes that organisms belonging to the same taxa have a common ancestors. Evolutionary relationship here we are talking about. This phylogenetic classification system based on evolutionary relationship. For example, one thing to how one plant in before 1,000 years, how it evolved into 10 different species. So here in phylogenetic classification system, which is based on evolutionary relationship between the various organisms are acceptable here, which makes us that assume that organisms belonging to same taxa have a common ancestors. Like for example, we studied about leopard, tiger, cat, all these belong to Felidae, but they are different species like this, but their ancestor is the common. We now use information from many other sources to help resolve difficulty in classification. These become more important when there is no supporting fossil evidence. Fossil evidence means which is present in the soil since thousands of years, buried in the soil. So when the time comes, the scientists they dig up, the archaeology they take out the bones, all this means whatever. For example, animals, the bone is the evidence. For leaf, even plants of plant like dried bark, everything it can be considered as a fossil. If it is not available, so these are the evidence, like how to classify the plants. Numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using computers, is based on all observable characteristics. Numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using computers, because numbers and codes are assigned to all the characters and the data are then processed. In this way, each character is given equal importance, and at the same time, hundreds of characters can be considered. In any plant, if you want to make a database of that, you'll be giving a code for each part of the plant. For example, flower, leaf, stem, okay, roots, all this. So numbers and codes are assigned to all the characters in that particular organism, and then the data is processed. In this way, every character has equal importance, and at the same time, hundreds of characters can be considered. Cytotaxonomy, that is based on cytological information like chromosome number, structure, behavior, and chemotaxonomy, that uses the chemical constituent of the plant to resolve confusions, are also used by taxonomists these days. So what is cytotaxonomy? Which is based on cytological information like cells, chromosome number, cell structure, behavior, all this. Cytotaxonomy. And chemotaxonomy, that uses the chemical constituents of the plant to resolve confusion. Algae. Algae are chlorophyll bearing, simple thalloid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic. Aquatic means both freshwater and marine water organisms. They are chlorophyll bearing, simple thalloid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic organisms. They occur in variety of other habitats. Examples are moist stones, soils, wood. Some of them also occur in association with fungi. Then that is lichen, and also in animals on sloth bear. So algae, they occur in association with the fungi and also sloth bear, that is an animal. The form and size of algae is highly variable, ranging from colonial forms like volvox and the filamentous forms like Eulothrix and Spirogyra. So we'll see in the images. A few of the marine forms, such as scalps, form massive plant bodies. Few of the marine forms, such as scalps, forms massive plant bodies. The algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual, sexual methods. So, three modes of reproduction occurs in algae. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation, a single fragment which will develop into a full thallus. Asexual reproduction is by production of different types of spores, the most common being the zoospores. Okay, they are flagellated if motile, and on germination gives rise to new plants. Sexual reproduction takes place through fusion of two gametes. These gametes can be flagellated and similar in size as in Elothrix, or non-flagellated, that is non-flagellated with non-motile, but similar in size as in Spirogyra. Such reproduction is called isogamous. So what is this? Sexual reproduction takes place through fusion of two gametes. Here, the gametes can be flagellated and similar in size. In Elothrix, where Elothrix is a flagellated organism, whereas non-flagellated is non-motile, but similar in size, as in Spirogyra. So here, flagellated and non-flagellated. So gametes of the same species, like two flagellated species, if that reproduction is called as, that sexual reproduction is called as isogamous. Fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size, as in species of Eudorina, a term is termed as anisogamous. When two gametes which are dissimilar, not in same size, dissimilar in size. In species such as Eudorina, is termed as anisogamous. Fusion between one large non-motile, that is static, female gamete and a smaller motile male gamete is termed as oogamous. Okay, before we talk about the fusion between the same flagellated and also fusion between the same, that is non-flagellated, and also we talk about the two gametes of different sizes, that is anisogamous. Now we are talking about two gametes. One is large non-motile, okay, female gamete, and a smaller smaller male motile gamete, okay, is termed as oogamous. So these three terms are quite important. So you should remember this. Coming here, we have a structure, some pictorial representation of three types of algae, which we'll discuss soon. Green algae, brown algae, and red algae. So in green algae, we have examples such as volvox and Elothrix. And in brown algae, we have Laminaria, Fucus, Dictyota. Okay, you need to see each description of the picture. For example, here, this is Laminaria. We have a holdfast here, then stripe here, then frond here. So sometimes the images will come, as I said in my previous videos also, that in video sometimes in exam you'll be having one image. So they will just they will not write any of this. They'll ask you what are those parts. Okay, we make sure you need to study the pictures also. Okay, in brown algae we have three examples: Laminaria, Fucus, Dictyota. In red algae we have a Porphyra, Polysiphonia. So all these two examples comes under red algae. Algae are useful to man in variety of ways. At least a half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. The half means 50%, because the algae are useful for us because they fix carbon dioxide fixation through photosynthesis. Being photosynthetic, they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in the immediate environment. How? Okay, by the process of photosynthesis, the concentration of dissolved oxygen will increase wherever algae is present. They are of paramount importance as primary producers of energy-rich compounds, which form the basis of the food cycle of all aquatic animals. Many species, Porphyra, Laminaria, Sargassum, are among the 70 species of marine algae used as food. Okay, many species like here, remember the names: Porphyra, Laminaria, Sargassum, are among the 70 species of marine algae used as a food. Certain marine brown and red algae produces large amounts of hydrocolloids, water bonding substances. Okay, who produce, what are the examples? Certain marine brown and red algae. Okay, they produce large amount of hydrocolloids, water holding substances. That is the example you can take algae, that is the brown algae, and carrageen, red algae, which are used commercially. Agar, one of the commercial products obtained from Gelidium and Gracilaria are used to grow microbes and in preparation of ice creams and jellies. So agar is obtained from which species of the algae? Gelidium and Gracilaria. From this, the agar is obtained, which is used in laboratory. We prepare agar medium in lab, and also it is used in the preparation of ice creams and jellies. Chlorella, a unicellular alga rich in proteins, is used as food supplement even by space traveler. Which one is used as a food supplement by space travelers? Chlorella. This is a unicellular alga rich in proteins. Again, the algae are divided into three main classes: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, Rhodophyceae. So we have a three main classes coming under algae: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, Rhodophyceae. Coming to Chlorophyceae. Coming to Chlorophyceae, the members of Chlorophyceae are commonly called green algae. The plant body may be unicellular, colonial, or filamentous. So this is also important line. They are usually grass green due to the dominance of pigments chlorophyll A and also B. The pigments are localized in definite chloroplast. Okay, this is very important. And the chloroplast may be discoid, plate-like, reticulate, cup-shaped, spiral, ribbon-shaped in different species. So different chloroplast shape will be different in different species. Most of the members have one or more storage bodies called pyrenoids located in the chloroplast. So pyrenoids are located in chloroplast, and pyrenoids contain protein besides starch. Okay, this is also quite important. Pyrenoids contain protein besides starch. There is no any starch in that pyrenoids, and where they are located? In chloroplast. Some algae may store food in the form of oil droplets. Green algae usually have a rigid cell wall made of an inner layer of cellulose and an outer layer of pectose. So here cellulose and pectose are part of the cell wall structure. Vegetative reproduction usually takes place by fragmentation or by formation of different types of spores. Asexual reproduction is by flagellated zoospores produced in Zoospongea. And the sexual reproduction shows considerable variation in the type and formation of sex cells, and it may be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. We already learned about isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. Some commonly found green algae are Chlamydomonas, examples, Goldwax, Elothrix, Pyrogera, and Chara. Okay, all these five are the examples for Chlorophyceae, which are green algae. Coming to Phaeophyceae, the members of Phaeophyceae or brown algae are found primarily in marine habitats. They show great variation in size and form. They range from simple branched filamentous forms, that is in ectocorpus, to profusely branched forms as represented by kelps, which may reach a height of 100 meters. They possess chlorophyll A, C, carotenoids, and xanthophylls. The The vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown depending upon the amount of xanthophyll pigment which is picoxanthin present in them. Okay, here remember the phaeophyceae also called brown. This this algae group consists of brown algae, which are found mainly in marine habitats. They show great variation in size and form, and they are simple branch filamentous and to profusely branched forms as represented by kelps. They possess chlorophyll A, C, carotenoids, and xanthophylls, and they vary color from olive green to various shades of brown depending upon the amount of xanthophylл pigment. So here xanthophylл pigment plays a major role in giving color to that particular organism. Food is stored as complex carbohydrates, which may be in the form of laminarin or mannitol. The vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall usually covered on the outside by gelatinous coating of algin. Okay, the vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall usually covered on the outside by gelatinous coating of algin. The protoplast contains, in addition to plastids, a centrally located vacuole and nucleus. The plant body is usually attached to the substratum by a holdfast and has a stalk. The stipe and the leaf-like photosynthesis organ, the frond. So the plant body is usually attached to the substratum by a holdfast and has a stalk. The stipe and leaf-like photosynthetic organ, the frond. So this leaf-like structure, what we'll call frond, FROND, frond. Vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation, where each fragments develop into full organism. Asexual reproduction in most brown algae is by biflagellate zoosphere, but that are pear-shaped and have two unequal, literally attached flagella. The vegetative reproduction takes place with fragmentation. Asexual reproduction in most brown algae is by biflagellate zoospores, means there are two flagella on the zoospore that are pear-shaped and have two unequal, laterally attached flagella. Okay, unequal. Remember this. Sexual reproduction may be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. Union of gametes may take place in water or within the oogonium. The gametes are pyriform and bear two laterally attached flagella. The common forms are ectocarpus, dictyota, laminaria, sargassum, and fucus. These 5 examples come on the Phaeophyceae. Coming to Rhodophyceae. The members of Rhodophyceae are commonly called red algae because of the predominance of the red pigments. Which the pigment is or phycoerythrin in their body. What is the red pigment here? Or phycoerythrin inside the plant body or algal body. Majority of all red algae are marine and greater concentration found in warmer areas. They occur in both well-lighted regions, close to the surface of water, and also at great depth in ocean, where relatively little light penetrates.